ask you a very dramatically formulated question. How can you manage to have such a lovely personality and such a lovely heart and be in the banking business?
You know, I have loads of men around me that makes me soft. No, 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 that was just a joke. No, I, I think, to be honest, I think I was born this way. Um, and at the same time, my life has been ups and downs, like most of us have had ups and downs. And through all these downs, partly I had really, really bad downs, but through these downs, I've learned to be very humble.
Hmm.
And and one thing that I decided in 2008, I decided not to think bad things about other people and neither to talk bad things about other people, because the world is actually so beautiful and time is so valuable. So don't waste your time by, you know, spending time in something that's not nice. Don't do that.
Hmm.
And I don't think that my heart is bigger than the heart of anybody else, but I had a lovely childhood. I have the most beautiful parents you can have. Actually, my mother is today turning 80,
Yes, happy
and my
birthday.
parents are
Exactly.
going to be married. Yeah, and actually they have their diamond wedding day next year, which is unusual today. You don't find that very often. And I'm thankful, Seda. I'm thankful for what I have. I'm thankful for my team in the bank. And you know, banking isn't that what maybe most people think through films and so on. I mean, it's of course it's sometimes tough, and of course it's now very tough, and it's tough for our customers, and it's a difficult situation on many parts. This time the crisis is a little bit different because the banks are not to be blamed. 2008, the banks were to be blamed. So
Yeah.
the customers don't call us to say, you know what did you do? I called it always, did you did this? Did you do this? Did you do that? That's a disease. That's a banker's disease. Did you did this? Um, but the situation is totally different this time because it's actually something that we are all confronted with.
Hmm.
It's something that concerns us all. It's something where everybody of us have to be very cautious. It's not a financial question.
Hmm.
I think that the really big issues, financial wise, are coming afterwards. I think that we, first of all, we have to take care of these health issues. But my dearest, what are you cooking? I told you already that I'm going to do avocado. And I can see you there, you know, cutting and doing.
Yes,
Do you have all your three
well,
items already?
I do. So I have onions with some
Okay.
butter. So I have to roast the onions. And then I'm going to do a Turkish bulgur rice. Do you know what bulgur is?
Yeah,
It's
I
cracked.
know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's cracked wheat.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
and then it's actually just some bulgur, butter, onions, and some salt. That's it. So
Okay. I'm going to take the rest from the refrigerator, and you can talk there on your side because what I need is not that much. But this is actually, this is no joke. This is something that I very often need when I come from the office in Zurich,
hmm?
because you can always have avocados at home, and nowadays I think the avocados are really nice.
Hmm.
Um, and then I have some onion in different sorts, and of course now I'm opening here something, and that means that George is coming.
Hey George, how are you? So George is a beagle. George is a very funny, big, sweet, hearted dog. Please cuddle him for me later. Um, so, but what I want to know is also from your perspective, how are we going to be dealing with this from the banking perspective with all of these crises? I mean, it's right now it's a health issue, but of course it has so many different parameters that in this first moment of haze, we're probably not thinking clearly about those, you know, effects, the aftermath of all of this.
I think it's essential, like in all crises, that you first calm down.
Mm.
And after you've calmed down, you see, what do I have, what do I need, and what do I need to achieve it. So, of course, it's essential first that we calm down the whole situation from the medical side, and to see through that all the people all around the world are secure. And I think, as hard as it may sound, but I think it's time also for us to sit down and see, why are there so many people around the world who are not insured?
Mm.
How can it be that they don't get the treatment? How can it be that a doctor today has to decide, do I treat a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, or a 70-year-old? I mean, we're all talking about people in the world who have relatives, who have people who love them. And I mean, I admire the doctors. I wouldn't like to be in that position, to sit there and have to choose. And maybe you've seen the film Sophie's Choice. I saw the film Sophie's Choice, where Sophie, in the Second World War, she has to decide which one. She has two children, and she has to decide, which one of my children am I going to save?
Mm.
I would never ever want to be in that situation. And that's exactly the situation that the doctors are today. And then you are under stress, and then you have to fulfill the goals, the medical goals. And you know that money isn't enough for what you actually need. So really, I admire everybody who is involved in this and trying to solve it. And of course, the financial questions we need to solve afterwards, because when the medical situation is solved, um, a lot, because of the fact that a lot of companies aren't getting in the profit that they should have had during the time. I'm afraid that we are going to have unemployment. We are going to see people getting fired. And here, on the other side, I see the government's role in trying to find a solution together with the banks. The banks alone are not capable of solving a global problem like this. And I think it's also time to say it clear. We're talking about too much money.
Yeah.
But I think everybody is on the same level. Everybody is trying to do their best. But I think everybody needs to give the best that they can. And just to give you an example, if you own an apartment, and no, let's say an office building, and in this office building you have 5 companies who are renting the spaces, and all these 5 companies send you a letter saying, I can't pay the rent. You get a problem. Maybe you're financing this property, and then you need to go to the bank and you say, you know what, I can't pay the loan, I can't pay the interest rate. What should we do? So the line is extremely long. Of course, I understand that the one who is having a small office in your building, he's having employed people. Is he now obliged to send them at home? So it's not only one question that we have to solve, it's a global, and it's a huge question. And this is going to take a very long time. And I feel also a little bit sorry about the next generation. I'm looking at I have 3 adult children, but they are the ones who are going to pay the price. I'm sorry to say that, but I think this also has to be discussed very clear, that the next generation is the one who is paying the bill.
And when we were talking about all of these things beforehand, under in private, you said one thing that was okay to say out loud. You said this crisis shows us how fragile our systems are. What do you mean by that?
I mean by that we people tend to think that we are stronger than the nature, which we aren't. Nature is always stronger than we are. And it's time actually for us to sit down and think, how can it be like this? How aren't we prepared? Even though the history shows that it comes every now and then, we are confronted with different crises every now and then.
Mm.
Of course, this is it's a global problem, and I'm really scared when I look towards US and I look, we don't know what's happening, how many people are ill in Russia,
Mm.
and are they tested, are they not tested, and I'm not a doctor, so it's also it's a scary situation because we don't have the facts. Who has
Mm.
the facts? Who is really having all these facts? And the, the people and the population, as soon as you don't have the facts and you don't know the facts, you tend to be scared. And when you're
Mm.
scared, your actions are not rational. So, I mean, I was laughing a little bit. I had a discussion with somebody who I very much like, and I said, you know, the Frenchmen, they are maybe buying wine and condoms, and the Italians are buying grappa and cigarettes, and the Swiss are buying chocolate and toilet paper to take home. The Germans are buying toilet paper and food, and the Americans are buying medicine and weapons.
Mm.
Why do we do so? Because we are afraid. We
Mm.
are afraid actually to stand there one day not having toilet paper or weapons. And we say, you can't shoot this virus. Even
No.
if you would like to, you can't shoot this virus. But here you see how the environment that we're living in is actually having a huge impact on us.
Yeah. Uh,
And as we talked earlier, you asked me, how do you think that the future is going to be? And we have all these very intelligently written papers sent around the world about how the society is going to change, and how we are going to think more of each other, and we are not going to kiss and hug anymore, and we are not going to say hello like we did before. I don't think that.
mm.
I disagree. I think that we people tend to go back as soon as it's forgotten. We tend to go back
Yeah.
to our routines, and I love to kiss and hug people because love is
I
essential.
know.
So I don't want to get rid of it. And
Yeah.
and how do we do babies in this world if we don't hug and kiss? And I don't want to keep a 1.5 meters distance for a long time. It's okay now, but not for a
Yeah.
long time.
I think it's just fear. Fear should not decide who we are, right? And how we live our lives. I'm hoping also that these times will be over. But just going back to what you said about how fragile our systems have been built, and how we humans actually pretend to be so much more than we actually are. And I know to this end, you have started a very personal project which you call the silent cry, which I think just ties beautifully into this idea of pretending to be someone you're not. Can you talk about silent cry a little bit?
Of course. A silent cry actually started by something which made me think twice. A young girl in Sweden was so badly mobbed um, that her life totally changed. And shortly after that, in January, I took part in a study from the Yale University about happiness. And in this study, they found out that we are today, even if we have everything, we are today not more happy than we were after the Second World War.
Mm.
So I was asking myself, why is that?
Mm.
And in this study, it came out that actually we are confronted every day, even if we don't know it, with a world that doesn't exist.
Mm.
It's you wake up early in the morning. I mean, you look shitty. Everybody of us look shitty in the morning. I look also shitty in the morning. Um, and you wake up and you open your Instagram account and you see your friends and people you don't know, and you see the most beautiful pictures, sunsets and kissing and hugging and beautiful food and lobster and champagne and nice clothing and no fat on your body and the breasts are perfect and they all have sex 20 times a day. Um, and, and then you sit there and then you say, you compare yourself with a world that doesn't exist.
Mm.
And of course, you wake up already early in the morning before you even had your coffee. You wake up doing, even if you don't want to, and even if you're in your head, you know, this is not real world and they are not having it all the time, you start to comparing yourself with them. And this is something that I see with a little bit of broken heart. So I said, I'm willing to do something that I never thought I would.
Hmm.
And that would be because inside of me, you know me as a professional person, you know me partly as a private person, but you don't know my secret sides anymore. You don't know my desires and my wishes and my secrets that I have. So I actually thought of starting a project with people that most of us know and with people where we have a certain picture. It's called the silent cry. It's I'm going to show myself in three different persons. It's me in the professional one, which most of us that know me, they know this professional one. Then you have the private one, where only a certain amount of people know me very well. And then you have the secret one. And the secret one is actually something where I open myself. Um, because a lot of people think that I'm the superwoman.
Oh
I have
yes.
three. I have three beautiful children. I'm happily divorced after 27 years. I have a lovely job. I have the best team in the world, and actually, I can stand here and say I'm to 100%. I'm a happy person.
Mm.
I'm really, really happy. But I know that out there, a lot of people aren't happy because they think that her life, Towa's life, is the best life in the world. You can't have anything else. But they don't know what I've gone through.
Mm.
As I told you, I've been in a certain time in my life. I actually sat on the bench here in Salzburg, and I wanted to do suicide because I couldn't cope with my own life anymore.
Mm.
And the only thing that saved me at the time was a small book and George.
Mm.
And in that moment, yeah, I mean, he is the best psychologist you can have. He doesn't send me any bills. He just want to have food twice a day. He wants to go out and pee with me. He's the best family psychologist that you can have. But
Absolutely.
that made me also think, people don't know this side. People always think that her life is perfect.
Mm.
And we should come away from these social perfect life. You need to get married, you have to look beautiful, your breasts have to be perfect, your ass is beautiful, you have the best clothing, you have a lot of money, you have the best husband, you have beautiful children, they never nag around, they
Mm.
don't smoke joints, they don't drink alcohol, they have the best grades, everything is fine. And you have at least 10 times a day sex. Forget
Oh my god.
Just forget it. This is not the real. This is not the real
One
life.
in one day.
No, we are not talking about the whole year. So
I think I will give it.
I think it's really time also to come back. I mean,
Yeah.
that what we have in internet. Internet is beautiful.
Mm.
It's really a lovely place, and you can do a lot about it. But we need to be very, very cautious because we tend to go over a certain line, and that can be dangerous. And
Mm.
especially young people who are sitting with their mobile phone, they're sitting in front of their computer all the time. We have to be extremely cautious in what we are presenting.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
yeah, So
I
this is actually the silent cry. I want to start it. I'm going to have three different pages, three different pictures from a photographer made of me. Um, Maybe even one where I'm crying without any makeup, looking really, really shitty. I don't know.
mm.
Just to show you that there are actually in every single one of us, there are three very vulnerable sides.
You mean, I mean, I think you're really right. Sometimes life does feel like a, you know, huge act of performance. The moment you leave your house, the moment you start your social interaction, you become this other persona. And of course, but why do you think, why are we so afraid of being vulnerable and showing it?
That's a very good. That's a very good question. Um, Maybe it's because we, without knowing it, we have these perfect pictures about how it should be.
Mm.
Um, Maybe it's also that you feel like you're not good enough if you say, you know what, my marriage didn't work out, and my child doesn't have good grades, or my child is hiding bottles of alcohol under his bed, or whatever. um, I miss it sometimes, this openness, just to show that this is how I am. And maybe it's also because you're afraid of getting even more hurt. It's a vulnerable situation, and you don't want to have more salt in the wounds that you
Mm.
already have.
Mm.
And maybe it's also lack of trust.
Mm.
I spoke with my mother today, and I see it in our society. It's a lack of trust. We don't trust anybody anymore.
Mm.
And we need to come back to the position where we are able to trust other people, saying, I know that you are not going to hurt me. I know that you are going to do the best. And I know that you are going to be honest to me.
Mm.
Because we've lost that a little bit.
But, and to this end, I think it's also an important point to talk about um, because I think behind this whole mask of the anonymity of the internet, you know, you can make commentaries about people, you can just, you know, create fake accounts and make all sorts of um, attacks on people without even them knowing who you are. You don't have to, you know, act with your real persona on the realm of internet, which makes all of this, of course, more easy for trust to be broken. But also in interpersonal relationships, do you think that trust is being broken more often today than it used to be maybe 100 years ago? Or were we kind of more dependent on healthy societal relationships to survive versus today, where individualism is like a very high good?
Well, it could be that because we have all these, we have better possibilities to communicate. That it's that we have the feeling that that we are more vulnerable than we were before,
Mm.
and that we always are a little bit afraid of people bringing in something into to internet or official, um, something that you don't want to people to tell further.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. I don't know, but it worries me a little bit, because I think trust is trust and faith are two things that we need to be happy. And
Mm.
if you don't trust people, and if you don't have faith in the future, um, it's difficult to live a happy life.
Mm.
And as I told you about my cancer, I said to you, you need 4 columns to survive it. You need a good doctor, you need family and friends, and you get the love from them, you need a freaking good condition. And that's something that I'm really working on in every generation, because what you do today, you need in 10 years. So don't leave that. I mean, you need to be outside at least an hour a day, being active. And the fourth one is you need to have a perspective. You need to know, why am I fighting today? If you don't know why you're fighting today, you can't survive for tomorrow. That's very easy. And I think you need all these four. And if you're working on these four, to be sure that you have people who love you, to be sure that you know to whom you can go if you're ill, and at the same time having a perspective in life, I think you come very far. And you can actually survive everything. And believe me, I've been there.
Another thing that you need to survive is a sock.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the sock. Yeah. So the one sock challenge, what's that?
It's actually I wanted to have two challenges with you. The first challenge is the one socks challenge, but that doesn't concern you now. I wanted to run New York Marathon again with a Paralympic sports lady, but it turned out that she is not possible. It's for her not possible to do it this year. So I decided to do 100 kilometers run in New Zealand in December with the Laureus Foundation.
Okay, I can come with you.
And I have a good friend who is a Belgian photographer, and he sends me every now and then. He sends me pictures of his two boys, and on some of these pictures, I was looking at the boys, and they only wear one sock. And I said, why do they only wear one sock? And he said, well, it's in at the moment just to wear one sock. So I said, okay, I'll start the one sock challenge. I'm going to start it I'm going to look for a sponsor. Let's have it a little bit put aside now, as long as the problems with the coronavirus there is. I mean, we have different problems now. We can pick up one sock challenge later. I would like to find a sponsor who pays for every single photo from persons who are wearing on one foot no sock, and on the other foot just one sock, to support Laureus, who is a charitable organization set up by Daimler and IWC. And for myself, I know from my childhood that really love and sports are two essential things. Love, sports, and music are actually three essential things to have a good childhood. Because sports keeps you away from a lot of stupid things. And I was lucky enough to have parents who loved me so much that all these stupid things, I mean, it was a part of the game, even though I every time I look at them and their gray hair, I know where they come from. But they always gave me a lot of love, and they always told me, it doesn't matter what you're doing, we love you anyway, and it's okay, no problems, just hidden solutions, but don't do it again.
Exactly. So what is the challenge? To have pictures with one sock?
Yeah. To have, I'm going to start it after the corona. I mean, we need to concentrate on those who are really having problems at the moment. So let's start maybe late summer with it. But I would love to see a lot of photos with 2 feet, one sock. Yay!
We will. I'm going to ask all my friends who have 2 feet and take off one sock.
That's
for Laureus Foundation, so we can support sports, and we want this to go really viral. And so, how is your food going?
I'm ready.
Oh, yeah. And looking
silent but deadly. But then we need actually something very, very Scandinavian. We need dry bread. knäckebröd.
I'm already getting one sock pictures here.
Hey, lovely, lovely. And I'm going to give you a surprise. George, because George can do high five for one sock. George, come on here. Come. George, sit. Oh, there. Okay, high
Yay!
five.
That's so sweet. Hi, George. Hi, sweetie.
It's the high five.
We have to make them friends with Rio.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So,
although he does everything for knäckebröd.
actually, we do have two questions here. So, the first one is really important. What
If
would
I
you?
boyfriend or what?
No, it says on Slido. So the first question says, what would you advise someone who is in a 9 to 5 job and hates to do it?
Well, there are three nice words: love it, change it, or leave it. Don't invest a single minute in something that you don't like to do.
Hmm.
I mean, I always say there aren't any problems, just hidden solutions. But don't spend any time in something that you don't want to do.
Hmm.
And even if it's always difficult to start something new because you're a little bit afraid. But at the same time, with every change, you develop as a person in a huge step.
Hmm.
So take it as a challenge and change it. Don't be unhappy. Don't waste any time at all.
That's very well said.
And I'll help. If somebody needs a help, I'm happy to try.
I know. Yeah, I mean, you take on so many different roles and help people. I think I don't even know how to put this into words because you're also in our advisory board for the Sonophilia Foundation to spread more creativity in society, and you take on different roles as an advisory and all. I don't even know how you fit all of this in your 24 hours, and you're a mother and you're there for your children and you're there for your dog.
You know what? I don't have a television.
Ah, so that's the trick.
That's the secret. No, the secret is actually, to be honest, I have two mentees, um, Corinna and Rubin, and Rubin called me yesterday and said that he is having a small problem, and the problem is a little bit bigger than small. So we had a communication yesterday until 10 past 2.
Oh.
But I do it actually out of love because as soon as of course I was a little bit tired this morning, but at the same time, the happiness that it gives me to help people gives me also the strength.
Hmm.
And some people, would you like to go down? Some people tend to forget it, that helping other people gives you more energy than it takes.
Hmm. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Another question I'm seeing here in Slido is, what is the single most important thing that leaders of nonprofit foundations should keep in mind?
You should never ever forget why you're there. That's the most important thing, and especially now. And this is something where I was in the beginning struggling with the banks, because a banker doesn't see. He's seeing the wealth management, but he doesn't understand that if we are doing a bad job, there is always somebody on the total end of the line who is who is who is who is the one who is suffering. So if we do as a bank a bad job in wealth management, it's not only the foundation
Hmm.
and the bank who is suffering, it's actually in the end of the line somebody who needs help. And you
Yeah.
should never ever forget that while you're working for a charitable organization, even if you have difficult times, and I can assure you the really difficult times are starting now, because we are so concentrated as private persons and as companies just to survive, that we tend to forget those who are sleeping on the street, those who don't have enough money, those who have no place to stay and no security and no love. We tend to forget them at the moment, and we shouldn't do so.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking back to my time in just a couple of days in Mumbai last year, they were kind of like a wake up call. I was like, we have to fix this. This is where we have to start, and I don't believe it's like you. I also don't believe that we don't have the means to fix it. We also have the means to fix it. It's just about how you channel your efforts, and where to start is of course also a big problem. But I want to show you. I want to show you something. This is so lovely. Look at this.
Oh,
Wait. This isn't alone. This isn't alone. Wait. Look at the Sonophilia page. Look at this. It's so many feet. It's so lovely. Thank you. Thank you guys. You're so lovely. Amazing.
Thank you very much. Yeah. But
Yeah.
don't get a cold now.
Exactly.
Don't get a cold now.
No, one
of the socks again.
I know that one of the feet is in California, so I'm believing that he is warm and cozy. Yeah. So, Towa, how is your food going? So we're kind of heading towards the end. We're almost at the end of our show. So I'm going to put some rice on this table to demonstrate that I did this. Look, I did bulgur rice. My mother would be proud of me.
Very healthy, but this is everything is green, like the stock markets today, except the bread.
Well, we also have to try, so it kind of is very good.
Of course, I'm going to mix my avocado now.
Actually, yes, very good. Well done, Seda.
One thing, Seda, is if there is anybody out there who wants to have additional question answer, or who needs my help, just take contact via Seda or Instagram or whatever.
Look at this person.
Send me the question. I'll promise to look at it, and I'll promise to do whatever I can. I can't promise that I solve the problem, but I will try.
It's so amazing. I'm missing words, which happens not very often. I'm speechless. Thank you so much, Towa. You're such a generous soul, such a kind person, and also you give me hope, because whenever I think of you, I'm like, everything is going to be fine, because Towa is in the banks, and she's bringing sanity to all of this, and she's really representing the poor and the needy. I mean, in terms of people who really are in need, and also the good.
Thank you. Although I think there are a lot of people out there who think in the same way as I do, and are doing their absolutely best. And I think that especially the doctors and the nurses and the whole hospital personnel,
absolutely,
personnel, and everybody is doing all what they can just to solve this problem. And then we have to hope that everything will be fine.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that this whole thing is just going to be after two more weeks in Austria. Hopefully, it's going to be all a bad joke, and we will be able to kind of start going back to our more or less normal lives without too many injuries. Economically.
And we need to show love. We need to show love and affection, and to be there for each other.
Absolutely.
And maybe every now and then put ourselves behind and not in front.
Yeah, which is a great ending word, but I will have to put myself now in the front while I'm saying good night to you. Thank you for hosting us in your kitchen. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
part of the Sonophilia initiative, but also thank you for being there for humanity. Thank you for fighting every day. I know some of your fights, so it's not always easy. And guys, so next week, tomorrow, who is on tomorrow? I forgot. Let me think. Oh, yeah, it's Steffi Grauer. No, Anastasia Lauterbach. Now I know. It's Anastasia Lauterbach tomorrow. She is a board member of some of the largest companies. She's on the board of Dun and Bradstreet, as well as on EasyJet and Wirecard. So I'm looking forward to talking. Yeah, I know. Looking forward to talking to her about the situation of the economics, and she's an expert in AI and data. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation tomorrow in her kitchen. And then next week we have Andy Gall, who is doing Red Bull Innovation in the Media House, and many more other people. We will be publishing them all in once next week. And Steffi Grauer is actually on next Friday. So she's a cook in Germany, very famous cook. So well, yeah, I will have to really think about what I'm going to. I think I'm not going to be cooking. I'm not going to be cooking next Friday. Well, thank you again, Towa, for being here. Thank you,
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for
everybody.
your time.
Have a good night.
For your time and for the invitation. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Bye, guys, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye.